Hey, what is going on? It is 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Christopher, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every single Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry. And what we're talking about today is obtaining your real estate license. How do you get a Florida Real Estate Sales Associate license so that you can practice real estate, so that you could be a realtor, so that you could earn commission selling real estate? We're going to be breaking down what it takes, what the licensing process looks like, what additional requirements it is you'll have after you get your real estate license. So we've got a really informational show for you today. If you're thinking about starting a real estate career, this will cover all the bases of what it is that you need to do to get yourself started. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. If you have any questions, call us 813-333-2676. My name is John Carissimo. Let's get into it.
You are watching Ask the Instructor. Absorb the knowledge. Become the expert.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Christopher. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time. And what we do is talk about the technical side of the real estate industry. How to understand the things that are complicated. Because one of our core values here at the Tampa School of Real Estate is to keep things simple. You know, I still remember back when we started Tampa School of Real Estate, way back in 2007. And I remember at that time trying to find the information to obtain a real estate license, and it wasn't readily, easily, understandably available really anywhere. So that's where we came in to really kind of break this down, to make it simple, to keep it simple, to make it easier to go through this licensing process. So let's talk about what this licensing process looks like. So if you want to earn compensation for real estate services in Florida, you need a real estate license, an active real estate license. So in order for you to obtain a real estate license, there's a few things it is that you need to do. And we actually have the full details of this at licensefl.com. So you can reference back to that after the show, licensefl.com, and it'll have a full breakdown with links to all this stuff, phone numbers, everything it is that you need. Because again, we're trying to make this all as simple as possible. So step one is a pre-licensing course. A pre-licensing course. Now, a pre-licensing course is required by the Florida Real Estate Commission. And you can do this course online, either on demand or live stream. Or you could also do in a classroom format. And a live stream is just like a classroom format, but taken from your home. And if you've got more questions about these classes, call us 813-333-2676, or you can check us out online. That License FL website will actually have links right to our class schedules as well. But what else is it that you need to do other than take the class? Well, we recommend taking the class first, or at least enrolling in the class first, because we help you go through this process. Yes, we've got this video here, and this video alone will basically show you what it is that you need to do, but that's also something that's going to be covered in your pre-licensing course. That's part of our whole onboarding series to help get you up to speed on what you need to do to not just get your real estate license, but build a successful real estate career. That's what we're here for, doing these live streams, to help you understand technical stuff, make that easy on Wednesdays, and then Fridays we've got a show called State of Real Estate. If you're not yet watching that, you'll definitely want to check that out, because that's all about making money with your real estate license. So we're here to help you throughout this whole process, but even at the very beginning. So what else do you need to do? Fingerprinting. And these normally need to be a live scan fingerprint. If you're outside of the state of Florida and you're getting your real estate license, you'd actually have to get hard cards done, actual physical printed cards, and then you'll have to mail them to a live scan channeler. So, fingerprinting. Why are they doing fingerprinting? Because they're background checking you. Now, does that mean if you have a criminal background, you won't be able to get a real estate license? No, because you actually are potentially able to get a real estate license even with a criminal background. We've actually got more details, a whole link to an article with contacts for more information on this, all again at licensefl.com. But they are doing a background check, and if you do have any sort of criminal background, mainly what it is that they're looking for is they're trying to understand if they could trust you with not causing harm in people's biggest purchase of their lifetime. And the crimes they're most concerned with are crimes of what they call moral turpitude. So these are going to be usually related to money, theft, larceny, any sort of stealing type of crimes, embezzlement, fraud, those types of things. It's going to be a little bit harder to get your real estate license, but if it's longer ago, there's, again, more information we have at licensefl.com. But yeah, the fingerprinting. Now, if you don't have any sort of background, criminal background whatsoever, you shouldn't have any issue getting your real estate license. If you've had a license in any other state, you'll also have to disclose that on your application. So that's going to be step 3. And you could do these while you're enrolled in the course or even before you even start your course. If you really want to get a head start on all this, get enrolled in your course and then go get your fingerprints done and get your application done. If you're taking one of our in-person in-class courses, we actually have an on-site fingerprinting vendor that comes to our classes, so that way you get your fingerprints done right there. But if you want to jump the gun and get it done ahead of time so you've got a head start, definitely. And we've got all the info again at licensefl.com. So getting fingerprinted, but then also doing an application. So the fingerprinting alone is not enough to get a real estate license. You also have to do an actual application for the license. The fingerprinting, so the company that does the fingerprints, all they do is roll your fingerprints and send your fingerprints to the FBI and the FDLE with the number that's they call it an ORI number, and that number tells the FBI and the FDLE to forward those background results to the Florida DBPR for real estate licensing. But they won't do anything with that background check at the DBPR until you've gotten your application completed. Now, you do want to do your fingerprints first, and ideally what they recommend is that you wait 5 days between doing your fingerprints and doing your application. And what that does is that gives time for the FBI and the FDLE to go through, get their background checks done, and submit that information and forward it over to the DBPR. So typically about 5 days, so that way when you do your application at the DBPR, your fingerprints are already waiting there, and hopefully they just link right up. Now, if there's any issue with your fingerprints, call the company that did your live scan submission, and they could give you what's called a TCN number. And that TCN number is basically a tracking number that you could then provide to the DBPR, which is who you do your application with. And overall, this is usually a pretty seamless process. And again, we cover this all right in the course. I know this is a lot of information really quickly, especially if this is new to you. But recapping what we've covered so far. Number 1, taking a pre-licensing course. You can do that online or in the classroom. We have instructor-led live streams as well as a self-paced, interactive, on-demand type of course, as well as the good old-fashioned classroom courses. Now, fingerprinting. We do bring a fingerprinting vendor on site if you're taking a class, but if you're doing something online, you'll definitely want to get those done, or even if you're in class, you can get those done ahead of time, and getting them done ahead of time gives you, again, a head start, because after you do your fingerprints, you'll want to wait 5 days, and then you file your application with the DBPR. And the application is probably not going to take more than 10 minutes to fill out, unless you do have like some sort of extensive criminal background, because any sort of criminal background whatsoever, you do have to provide documentation and details regarding that on your application, and that's in addition to what's going to show up in the background check. And this is your opportunity to provide all the information is that you can, so that way they have a full understanding of really who you are, because there is no black and white rule over whether or not they will give you a real estate license based on this. It's really the Florida Real Estate Commission members judging your character when it comes down to it. And there's a lot of things that you could do to help showcase yourself in the best light. And that's where we've got some information on that link about getting a real estate license if you've got some sort of criminal background in your past. But if you don't have that, again, this application is going to go pretty smoothly. Now, if you are married or maybe you have some sort of former name, any maiden names, if you changed your name, whatever it is, you'll have to put down any other aliases you might have, any other names. In addition to that, again, if you've had licenses, professional licenses, either in Florida or in other states, you'll want to put down details about those professional licenses, because what they're going to do is look into those licenses to see, have you ever been disciplined in the past? And the more info it is that they've got to go through and check, the longer this application process typically can take. So if you really don't have much background, maybe you're young, you haven't really had much work history or anything like that, and you're going through this process, you'll probably get through it relatively quickly. But if you've had a lot of licenses in the past, if you do have a criminal background or whatever it is that you're having to add more and more details for them to go and double check in the application, that's where it's going to take a little bit longer. Now, ultimately, they say this can take up to 90 days. Which, wow, 90 days, 3 months to get your application approved? Yeah, that's a really long time. Typically, it's about 2 weeks or so. And as you can see, that's why, again, getting this done sooner rather than later is going to be in your best interest, especially if you're taking one of the faster-paced classes. We have class schedules. If you're taking an instructor-led class, if you're doing the on-demand, it's estimated to take about 63 hours to get through it, but it's at your own pace, so you can go as slowly or as quickly as you desire. But in the instructor-led courses, you might be going through this class as quickly as 7 days. And getting all that information in very quickly is very beneficial as long as you don't forget that information. So one of the steps I'm also going to put in here, which is not necessarily a requirement, is to study. Now, why do you need to study? Because there's 2 exams you need to pass. There's going to be an end of course exam that you need to pass with at least a 70%. And it's multiple choice, so 70% and it's multiple choice. So look, this is completely doable. And the state exam, it's a lot harder. You have to get a 75. And it is a little bit more difficult, but again, it is still doable. It's still 100% capable, 100% doable, especially with our advice we have to help make this process as seamless and easy as possible. We actually have something we call our pass first try strategy. Because really, that's probably going to be the biggest investment you'll have to make on your part, is in addition to the money for paying for fingerprints in your application and the course and the time it is that you're investing in the course, the studying, that's going to be your biggest investment of all, because this is what you have to do over and above what you've already signed up for with this class. Now you might be saying, well, John, is it enough that I just take this class? Can I pass the exam with just this class? Well, I'll tell you this, you're eligible to take the exam after just taking this class. Absolutely, you're 100% eligible to take your state exam when you pass this class with at least a 70%. But now the question of will you pass now that state exam with at least a 75%, that's now, are you ready? Are you prepared? Are you confident? Are you going to second guess yourself, or do you know the information that was taught in the course so you don't fall victim to the booby traps designed to trick your common sense into thinking that's the right answer, when really, if you know what's in the course, you know, oh, that is the answer I need to know. And that's why we created our pass first try strategy. And again, that's designed to make the studying process simple. There's a lot of information that's covered in the course, and a lot of the information isn't important for your exam. But then there's a lot of information that's really important for your exam. So prioritizing what to actually study is the number one issue that a lot of people actually struggle with. But then number two, the other big thing is, how do I study? Because there's a lot of wrong ways to study. And that's why we created our pass first try strategy. So look, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be talking more about getting the licensing exam, going over again the details of those exams, how many questions, that they're multiple choice, the scores you need to pass, as well as what you do once you have your real estate license. Because once you pass that state exam, you will have a real estate license. But that's not the end of the road usually. I mean, you're not just doing all this just to get the license. You're usually doing it to do something with that real estate license. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, but stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're gonna love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Chrismo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time to help you understand the technical side of the real estate industry, to make it simple, to keep it simple. That really should be our motto for this show, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to keep it simple. Real estate can get complicated very quickly, and it doesn't always have to be. And especially with the licensing process, look, you're already going to be confused enough of going through this course and asking yourself, why do I have to learn this? Why do I have to learn that? And some of those questions may be valid, because if you're not planning on doing certain types of real estate practice, there's going to be certain information that's not important to you, except for when it comes down time to that exam. But then now the question is, okay, now you've got your real estate license. What is it that you're going to do with it? So I want to talk about that, but before we do that, let's talk about the last step you have to get the license. So after you've taken the course, after you've done your fingerprints, after you've done your application, after you've been studying your butt off, maybe not studying it off, but studying quite a bit. The more it is that you study, and somebody always will ask me, I've done this, 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 is that enough? And usually only you can determine whether that is enough. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, for this exam, it's really about being confident about the knowledge from the course. This is not an exam of how smart you are. As a matter of fact, the more intelligent it is that you are, the more trying to wing it through this exam is probably going to hurt you. Because there's a lot of common sense booby traps they've got on this exam, where they're really trying to see, are you just trying to use your common sense to fake it till you make it through this exam, or do you actually know what the law says? Because if you know what the law says, a lot of times these answer choices are pretty obvious. And so I know I could go in there and probably 40 minutes, go knock out this exam and probably score almost a perfect score. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant, because in the grand scheme of things, that's such a little bit of information in relation to everything else it is that there is to know about building a successful real estate business. So if you've already been going through this process and you've been trying to pass the exam, don't beat yourself up about the exam, about how many times it does take you to pass it. Now, you might be saying, wait a minute, you could take it multiple times? Yes. So not only is this exam multiple choice, but you could take it multiple times. Now, there are some strings attached with your course exam. So there's 2 exams it is you have to take. Your course exam and the state exam. These are both 100 questions. They might throw in a couple extra trial questions on your state exam that don't count for or against you. That's very typical. But there's always only 100 questions that actually count for you. They're A, B, C, D multiple choice. And that's for both class and state exam. Now, the passing score for your course exam is only a 70%, whereas for the state exam, it's a 75. So that means out of the 100 questions on this exam, your course exam, you could miss up to 30 of these questions. On your state exam, you could miss up to 25 of these questions. So there's a very large margin of error that you have. But usually not enough margin of error where you can just pass this exam without having to study. Again, this is a test of not how smart you are, not how intelligent it is that you are. You do need to be able to read to take this exam, so there's that level of intelligence required right there, but otherwise you just need to be able to take the laws and rules that you're learning in the course and be able to apply them in these scenarios that they're giving to you on the exam. That's really the nature of this here. And now the class exam, the course exam, the one you're taking from the school, there are FREC rules that you get 2 attempts, then you must retake the course. So this exam at the end of course, you get your first attempt. If you don't pass it, you have to wait 30 days, and then you get a second attempt, and if you don't pass that, then you're required to retake the course again. Now, at Tampa School of Real Estate, we have something called our 1-year retake guarantee. So while you're enrolled in the course, if you finish the course, take your exam twice and don't pass it, and you have to retake the course again, we don't charge you to retake that course again, as long as you're doing that within the registration period of your course, which is normally 1 year, except for a few of our more advanced courses. But for sales associate pre-licensing, that's a 1-year retake guarantee that we have on that. Now, once you pass this, and this exam is usually a little bit easier to pass just because there is a smaller bank of questions. The class exam, there's only 200 questions possible for your end of course exam. Whereas the state exam, they have thousands of potential possible questions they could ask you. So the state exam, once you pass your end of course exam, once you pass this bar and you're now on to your state exam, the state exam, you could take the exam as many times as you need to. Now, currently, I think it's like $38 or something like that to take your state exam, and you do have to pay for that every time you go to take the state exam. But other than that investment of time, the investment of money of another $38 or whatever it is they're currently charging, that's all you got to do. You just go in there and you could take the exam again and again and again and again and again and again and again until you pass. That's one way to do it. Now, a lot of people, they're not cut out for constant failure. If you're the type of person who doesn't want to fail and fail and fail and fail and fail and might not be able to listen to all the critics telling you, oh, this was such a bad idea, why are you doing this, when literally you're right at the finish line of passing this here, that's why we recommend studying through this. Because if you do just try to wing it through this and just go on and take the exam again and again, that is one way to go about this here. But a lot of times that'll burn you out. It'll chew you up and spit you out. So our pass first try strategy, again, that I talked about earlier, or any of our study tools it is that we've built here at the Tampa School of Real Estate. We used to just, way back when we started, we used to just resell study tools that were made by the publisher of our textbooks. And those are better than nothing, but there's a lot of areas for opportunity, and so that's why we built our own study tools, our own question simulator, our own MP3 auto review. We took a weekend prep class that was usually too much too fast and turned it into a recording, so that way you could have access to it on demand and rewatch and reprocess and rework through whatever portions of it is that you need. And then we've got a whole Secrets of the Exam course that helps go into test strategy and how to use all these study tools to your best advantage. And so that's all included in our Pass First Try bundle. And I highly recommend that you invest in that along with your pre-licensing course, just because that is really going to help make it a lot smoother, a lot more seamless going through this process to obtain your real estate license. And now, is it a guarantee you pass your exam on the first try? No, we're actually forbidden by the Florida Real Estate Commission from guaranteeing that you'll pass your real estate exam. However, if you use the study tools that are in our pass first try strategy, the odds are very good that you will end up passing your exam. So I highly recommend that you check that out. We have more details of that at passfirsttry.com. But let's say you go through, you use the study tools, or maybe you just wing it on your own and you do your own studying and you're able to pass the exam. That's 100% possible as well. But however it is that you do it, you get through, you pass your state exam, you will actually be issued your real estate license immediately upon passing your state exam. Sometimes it can take up to like 24 hours for it to show up online. But basically, as soon as you pass your state exam, you have a real estate license. Because you've already done the application, you've already done the fingerprints, you've already done the prerequisite course, and this is the last step that you have to actually be officially licensed. But now the question is, What can you do with your real estate license? How do you actually use it at this point? And you'll have learned a lot in your pre-licensing course, but what it is that you're mainly learning in your pre-licensing course is the information you need to know to pass your real estate exam, which is going to be a lot of laws and a lot of rules, a lot of stuff about how real estate is practiced, like the types of relationships you could have with clients, different info about deeds and title insurance and mortgages and appraising property and property taxes. So you're going to learn a ton of information, but now the question is, how do I make money with my real estate license? And that's where your post-licensing course comes in. So there's a requirement that you complete 45 hours of post-licensing courses by your first renewal deadline. Being that you start out in real estate with the understanding of how to pass an exam and the basic laws and rules of real estate, there's a lot of opportunities for you to fall on your face and really have a bad start. I know, because that's how I started in real estate. Why? In hindsight, this isn't the only thing, but one of the things I would absolutely change if I could go over and restart this whole process all over again is taking my post-licensing right away. Now, maybe I wouldn't have this compelling story to tell all you new agents here about getting your post-licensing done right away, because that course taught me so much. I went, after I got my real estate license, and I didn't do my post-licensing until right before my renewal deadline. So I was burnt out. When I got my real estate license, I went and took my course, but then I dragged out. I did not take my state exam right away. And once you pass your course exam with us, you ultimately have 2 years before you can take your state exam. Now, you should not have told me that. You should not have told me that my course completion is good for 2 years. Why? Well, because, I don't know, for some reason I'm just hardwired that I look at deadlines and say, okay, that's when I need to do that. So I don't think I dragged it out completely 2 years, but it was close to it. And what happened during that time? Well, I forget all the information, and so I have to go relearn and go through this all over again. And have to restudy and reprocess all this. So let's say, looking back on this new real estate licensee, taking years, being miserable in his job, wanting to leave, and finally being miserable enough as I got to figure out how I could go take this exam and pass this exam. And I did pass my exam on the first try, but it was after I did a bunch of studying. I was going to go try to wing it through the exam, but everybody kept telling me how difficult and how hard it is, and that maybe was part of the reason why I didn't go take it right away. And I was like, yeah, I'll study, but I'm not really a studier. Time was running out, and I was like, all right, well, let me just go pass this exam. I'll go. And everyone was like, no, wait, you're not going to pass it. I was like, all right, look, I'll take a practice exam, and look, if I do get on the practice exam, I'll go take it. So I start the practice exam. I get like 30 questions into it, and I realize I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just completely guessing 100% on what the answer might be. So thank God this was a practice exam and not a real exam, because I would not have passed on my first try if that were the real exam. So thank God I actually did take that practice exam, as opposed to, just going to the exam and hope for the best. Would have lost a lot more than the I don't think it was $38 back then. It's probably a little bit cheaper. But I would have lost a lot more than the money. I would have lost a lot of pride. Who knows if I would have got back in there and tried to do it again. Probably I would have, but I don't know. And that should not be the part of the process. And once I found out I had no idea what it is that I'm doing, I started studying, and I studied a lot of wrong ways. And I realized there were wrong ways, and I realized they weren't working, and I wasn't doing any better on these practice exams. And so that frustration, that struggle, that's what eventually led us to develop the pass first try strategy, where we try to make this as seamless as possible. We tell you what to do so you don't have to figure it out on your own, because if this is your first time doing this, what are the odds that you're going to get it right the first time and you figuring this out for the first time, as opposed to us, where we've helped thousands of students. So if you follow our strategy, our suggestions, they do work. It takes time. It takes an investment of your time to go in there and actually use this stuff. But if you do use it and you try to condense this in before you go take your state exam, you will pass. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So I studied my butt off, basically to relearn the info again, studied a bunch of wrong ways, eventually figured out the right ways to study. And all of this time I'm just thinking, why do I need to know this? Why do I need to know this? Why do I need to know this? And eventually I go take the state exam. I pass it. But then I try to put that all in my rearview mirror. I was like, all right, whoa. No more Florida Real Estate Commission courses for as long as I can. I remember that post-licensing course. Yeah, who knows if I'll ever take that, because honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to stay in real estate at this point. Wrong attitude, because I literally said no to taking a course that, and no one actually told me how beneficial this course would be. So that's why I'm so much on a soapbox about this post-licensing course, because no one told me this would be beneficial. No one told me that you should take this. My broker didn't tell me. And honestly, maybe somebody did tell me at one point, but I was maybe too hard-headed to listen and let it sink in. But whatever the case may be, that's why I'm here to tell you today, take your post-licensing course as soon as possible. You also, one of the things you'll do once you have your real estate license is join a broker. Now, as soon as you get approved to get your real estate license, there'll be all kinds of brokers contacting you, trying to recruit you. As soon as that approval goes through with the DBPR that you're approved to get a real estate license, there's a lot of brokerages out there that are actively trying to recruit new agents that will be reaching out to you, trying to find out more information. And a lot of times it's almost like a reverse job interview process, not where you're hoping somebody will take you, but where you're trying to find the best fit for you. And one of the issues is, if you don't know what you want to do with your real estate license, just because you're still not even exactly sure what you're going to do with your real estate license or what you can do, that makes it really difficult to find the right broker for what it is that you ultimately are going to do with your real estate license. And that's why our post-licensing course covers things like business planning. It covers the post-licensing course. We don't have to follow a specific syllabus from the FREC like pre-licensing, because pre-licensing is designed to be a prerequisite for the state exam. Post-licensing, it's almost a form of it basically is continuing education. There's another type of continuing education called continuing education that you do every 2 years. It's only 14 hours. It's a real simple requirement you have to meet. But your post-licensing is so essential, so crucial, that you do that as soon as possible, because that'll help you learn the fundamentals of how to actually use your real estate license to make money, to actually use it to do something with it. And a lot of times what happens is you'll have deals right under your nose of potential business right there in front of you, and you might not know how to identify it or how to turn it into business or what it is that you could even do for them, because everything's so new. And you might know, okay, I know a contract needs to be in writing and signed, and then I can do these different types of brokerage relationships with the client, but now how do I actually talk to this person here? How do I actually, and even if you're a good people person, okay, well now how do I, just not BS them? How do I actually know what I'm talking about when it comes to actually practicing real estate? Post-licensing. Now, it's not going to be a life-changing course. I know I'm trying to hype it up here, but it is really important that you take it as soon as possible, because all the trainings you'll do with the Association of Realtors, with your broker, with whatever trainings you do after the fact, any books you read, it'll all make way more sense because you understand the basics of how real estate is practiced in Florida. That's, again, mainly what the post-licensing course is all about. So look, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more about, again, choosing a real estate broker after you've got that post-licensing course done. Or hey, look, if you've already got a broker that you're sold on, you know it's the right fit for you, join the broker, but get your post-licensing course done as soon as you can, because again, that will help you so much in really understanding what to use your real estate license for, how to actually do something with that real estate license, because there's a lot of things it is that your real estate license will work for. So you got to narrow down, hone in, and be good at one thing at first, and helping you figure that out will be a major breakthrough that you'll hopefully make going through that post-licensing course. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, but stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Have you completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline, I don't need to do post-licensing yet, but look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Christman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time. If you guys like today's show and you want more videos about starting a real estate career, studying for your real estate exam, or any of the topics we've covered today, hit that thumbs up button so we know what videos in the future to do more about, because ultimately we tailor these videos around our audience of what information you guys need to build a successful real estate business. And that might mean getting your real estate license, literally one of the first things it is that you're doing. So if you like today's episode, hit that thumbs up. Make sure you also hit that bell icon, so that way whenever it is that we go live or have new videos or new content, you'll get notifications, and that way you don't miss out on any of this great info it is that we deliver really every single week. So we've talked about, again, the licensing process, and before we went on the break, we started bringing up post-licensing. So post-licensing, again, it's a requirement after you get your real estate license, and it's a shorter course than pre-licensing. So pre-licensing is a 63 credit hour course, post-licensing is 45, so a little bit shorter. There's also no state exam. That's really one of the biggest differences between pre-licensing and post-licensing, is that there is not a state exam on your post-licensing course. And that's why we don't have to follow a specific syllabus that's designed by these like 7 Florida Real Estate Commission people that just want to really focus on you not breaking the law. That's what pre-licensing is about. It's about you knowing the laws and rules, so that way once you earn your real estate license, you've proven that you know what you can and cannot do. But now, okay, being legal doesn't necessarily teach you how to be profitable. And one of the first things that you're doing in your post-licensing course is business planning. So business planning is really important, because if you don't have a plan, what I like to say is if you don't have a plan, if you don't work your plan, you're going to be a part of somebody else's. So if you don't have a plan that you're actively working, you're going to end up being part of somebody else's plan. Now, when it's somebody else's plan, who is that going to benefit the most? That's somebody else. Whereas if it's your plan, who is that going to benefit the most? Usually you. And you building out your plan, figuring out what it is that you're trying to do to build a successful real estate business, will help you better understand who's going to be the right broker for you. You know, every broker is going to be trying to sell you on their brokerage, because they're all going to be trying to recruit you, and they're all going to be trying to tell you how great it is that they are, and all the great things it is they have, and how successful it is that they can make you. But do they really? Is everything really what it's made out to be? And really, is it what is the best fit for you? So as you start to understand the business more, and that will come through taking your post-licensing course, you won't understand it completely. You never really understand it completely. To this day, I'm still learning new things every single day about real estate. So you'll never understand it fully and completely, but you'll understand it a lot more after taking that post-licensing course, and you'll be able to understand, again, what are important things that you need to be able to achieve your goals. And you'll understand more of the lingo, so you can have a more competent conversation with brokers it is that you talk to, and you'll be able to find out more about how their structure might be able to benefit your plan. Whereas if you don't have a plan, they're just telling you how it's going to benefit you, and if you don't have anything to base that against, it's all going to sound great. Whereas if you have a plan of what you're trying to do to be successful, and they're telling you all about this thing that they got that is their like main selling point, but you're like, that's not really what I need, that's not really important, well then that brokerage probably isn't the best fit for you. But again, you won't really understand that until you've done business planning. But let's say you're already at a great broker and you're not planning on leaving, and it's already a great fit for you, and you know it, because after you do your business plan, you're like, yep, this is the right broker for me still. But now the question is, what do I do every day when I wake up and I'm going to be a realtor? What do I do to make money? Because it's not just you wake up and say, I think I'm going to sell a house today. Now, we like to sell houses every day. But now what is it that we're really going to do today that's going to drive our business, that's going to grow our business, that's going to not just put food on the table, but build whatever level of business it is that we got into real estate to do. And so your business plan is going to help you hold yourself accountable. Because look, this isn't some big fancy like Harvard, a graduate degree type of thing. Look, this is about how much money do you want to make? Okay, you want to make this much money? This is how many houses you have to sell. Do you want to focus more on buyers or sellers? What percentage do you want from sellers? What percentage do you want from buyers? And you're really just working out the numbers of how do you achieve the income level it is that you want. Because that really, at the end of the day, that's a big part of the reason why it is that you're doing this is the money. And even if money isn't the primary concern, well, at least you got to be able to pay the bills. So figure out how much all this is going to cost you and then figure out how much money it is that you need to make just to be able to pay the bills. But if you want to make money, then okay, let's figure out how much money it is that you want to make. These are all your expenses that you're going to have. And then that means we need to sell this many houses. In order to sell this many houses, we need to have this many contracts. And to get to this many contracts, we got to do this many appointments. To have this many appointments, we need to have this many contacts. And to get to this many contacts, we have to get to this many leads. So you can see how you could really trace this all the way back to, okay, leads. Now, how many leads do I need to get every day? How many people do I need to talk to every day? How many new people do I need to bring into my orbit every day in order to achieve that income goal that I've got stated out here? That's really the type of business planning we're talking about. And now you'll be able to hold yourself accountable to the actions that are required because you could break them down to a daily basis. So you know every day what it is you have to do, every week what it is you have to do, how many contacts, how many appointments, how many showings, how many listing appointments, how many visits to your website. Again, you could get really granular with this as well. But that's just the first step in post-licensing, is starting to try to figure out your business plan. But then you also cover prospecting. Now, what is prospecting? It's a way you get leads for free. Wait, leads for free? How do you get leads for free? Through prospecting. There's a lot of ways to prospect. Now, prospecting is not advertising. Advertising is not free. That's another way to get leads, but not a way that I'd recommend as a new agent because advertising costs money. Now, you can maybe work in a little bit of advertising to support your prospecting, but your prospecting is what's going to get you the most immediate business. And these are going to be face-to-face conversations more so, or maybe phone call conversations, but more direct conversations, not just a postcard that goes in the mail or something like that, but again, more direct one-to-one type of interactions. And it covers all kinds of different ways to prospect, to follow up, to really, again, the basics of what you need to know, that things that you should do. If you just talk to somebody once and you never talk to them again, are you going to get business from them? Absolutely not. So you need to have a system set up in place for following up with all the people it is that you're meeting. And that's why, again, this is so much more important to do before you start advertising, because when you're paying for leads, it's very easy to burn through that money just looking for the hot leads, the people that need business now, the low-hanging fruit. So you don't want to just throw away all those leads that aren't business today, because those will be business tomorrow. The question is just how far away is that tomorrow? So follow-up is another big part of this. Another topic that we cover in there is converting for sale by owners. So for sale by owners trying to sell property on their own, and in a market like today, they could probably do pretty well selling on their own. But how much better could they do selling with a professional? And maybe let's work up some numbers of how do we figure out how much more you're going to get versus how much it's going to cost you, and are you still going to come out ahead? Also something you do with your follow-up as you push that conversation further. And again, there's a lot of stuff it is that you might just not know yet. Post-licensing is probably what you wish you're going to learn in your pre-licensing course. It also covers, as opposed to appraising, in pre-licensing, you learn the basics of appraisal, of how to appraise, whereas in post-licensing, it's more focused on pricing to sell. Because that's mainly when we do appraising as real estate professionals, is when we're trying to figure out what price do we want to sell a property at, what price should we list the property at. And the seller almost always has their own idea in mind, so really what we're trying to do is find supporting information for a strategy that's going to elicit the highest and best price. And sometimes that might be not listing at the highest and best price. Listing at the highest, most best price that is you could possibly get just because you think everyone's going to try to submit lower offers. Well, guess what? Everyone will submit lower offers if you put some astronomical price. Whereas if you price more competitively and throw some sort of like marketing blitz onto the launch of the property, you're very likely to get multiple offers, especially in a market like we have today. But then also there's a lot of analysis that we cover in the post-licensing course as well, talking about the market, understanding market conditions, so that way you really get to understand better what goes on in the real estate market, so that way you can adapt your business over time, so that way you don't get smacked in the face and get surprised by changes in the market where you can't adapt quickly enough to keep your business going. So again, these are very crucial topics that are especially important when you're brand new to real estate, because there's a lot of ways you can do real estate, and I would call some of those ways incorrect, wrong ways. And the reason why I'd say they're incorrect or wrong is because they cost you time, they cost you money, they cost your clients time, they cost your clients money, it costs you frustration, it costs you stress, it probably is costing you years of your life. So why let all those things get to you? Maybe, I know we started talking about originally just about how to get your real estate license, and now we're basically now pepping you up for the next level of your real estate career. But look, if you're at home or wherever it is that you're watching this and you're thinking about getting a real estate license, maybe you're in a position right now where you feel like you're trading your time for money. Most jobs, that usually is the deal. You give them your time, they give you money for your time. Maybe there's some sort of incentive-based pay, but usually not incentive-based pay like you have in real estate. Now, the downside in real estate is usually an independent contractor running your own business where you don't have some sort of base salary or base pay. Even when you're registered under a broker, because when you're brand new as a sales associate, you can't start your own brokerage. As a sales associate, you have to have at least 2 years experience under a broker before you could start your own brokerage. So even when you're registered under a broker, you're usually an independent contractor, your own business. And so you don't have necessarily a boss breathing down your back telling you do this way, do this way. It's your business. It's a very freeing profession. But you still want to hold yourself accountable to make sure that you do what it is that you need to do to become successful. And we're here to help make that easy. Because look, you can find success if you just get your real estate license and go out there and do this before it is that you have to. I mean, I'm standing before you today. I found success, and I didn't take this until right before my renewal deadline. But I will say probably 3, 4, maybe 6 months into getting my real estate license, some sales trainer came into our office, gave a great little sales pitch, and I signed up for his like $1,200 90-day boot camp type of masterclass thing. And it was great. It taught me all kinds of things about real estate. But here's the thing. When I took post-licensing, this is all the same stuff. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I already know all this. I learned all this stuff in my sales class. Wait a minute, I could have learned this all for like $200 instead of $1,200. So, and maybe there were things that were higher level that just went way over my head just because I was so in awe of the basics. And look, here's the other thing. A lot of brokers have great training programs, but look, I'm a broker who's also an instructor. And it's extremely difficult to take things down sometimes and bring things down from the high-level broker speak, from the high-level practicing real estate agent lingo to, okay, this person is brand new to real estate, they know some basics in the pre-licensing course, but they don't get all this other stuff yet. So a lot of times, there's a disconnect there with the training that are offered at brokerages when you haven't got these basics in yet. So again, everything it is that you do at your brokerage for training, at the Association of Realtors, or wherever it is that you're doing any sort of after higher level training, it's going to make way more sense when you've done your post-licensing course. This isn't the end-all be-all. There's still tons of things to learn after this, but this is a requirement that you'll have to do to renew your real estate license, and the sooner you do it, the faster you're able to catapult your real estate career, because again, this is info that you, again, probably thought you're going to learn when you took pre-licensing. This is the info that people are expecting of, okay, how do I go make money with real estate? maybe we should teach this course first. You'd have to take it again after you get your license because you can't take post-licensing before you got your license. So if you don't have your license yet, you need to take pre-licensing. The stuff we're talking about at the beginning of today's show. Your pre-licensing course, you can do that online. We have on-demand, at your own pace, interactive, text-based online programs, as well as instructor-led live stream courses, which are just like our classroom courses, except for we bring the instructor to you. Just like you're watching me today, there's an interactive chat function into this here. There's all kinds of supporting digital materials that we have to help you go through and narrow down those more important concepts in the course. And this is all the same materials you get also when you're in the classroom as well. So look, whether you want to join us in classroom, you want to join us in our virtual live stream classroom, or you want to do it at your own pace with our interactive on-demand text-based course, call us up 813-333-2676. Again, that's 813-333-2676. We've got advisors standing by to help break this down to make this simple. Look, I know we covered a lot today. We covered a lot in a pretty short period of time. But if you have more questions on any of this, there's still a lot of other details into this process. We've got the whole details at licensefl.com. Again, that's licensefl.com. Or call us up and we'd answer whatever questions you have, 813-333-2676. It's about all the time it is that we have for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to tune in on Friday for State of Real Estate, where we'll be talking about how to grow your real estate business. So that's all the time we've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on Friday. Hey, so if you're thinking about starting a real estate career, it could feel a little overwhelming sometimes. Look, that's completely understandable. That's why we're here to help. If you haven't already, check out our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success, or if you don't even know where to begin, give us a call. We'd love to help you out. We've got advisors standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way it is that we can. Our phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. Give us a call. We're the Tampa School of Real Estate.
Do you want a career that allows you to be in control? With a career in real estate, you'll get to call the shots. Whether you're looking at starting part-time or want to become the next top agent, a career in real estate makes it possible. Find out what it takes at tampaschool.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can. Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.